basically where I'm going to start practicing karate. Kidding. There is a tremendous amount of room for activities though, isn't there? Okay, so excuse the mess, but let's take a look at the usable space we now have for the pond. I want to give you guys a visual as well as an idea on what the plans are actually going to be. So to this window, or at least to the trim of the window, we're working with about 9 feet. From the wall to the 2,000-gallon aquarium, we have 11 feet. Now that 9 feet is basically how far the 2,000-gallon tank comes up, out by. Obviously I want them to be symmetrical and even the same height, which this is 4 feet tall. Front to back though, we have it at 11 feet. Now obviously I can't build a 9 by 11 foot pond in here because obviously it's going to block off the 2,000-gallon aquarium. We're not even going to be able to access it. So what I thought I would do is I could build it 10 or 11 feet this way, but then I'm blocking access to behind the 2,000-gallon aquarium, which currently obviously is blocked off just with garbage and whatnot. Imagine it's not there. But also, to come out from here to here is about 4 feet, which would be symmetrical with the viewing panel of the 2,000. So I thought, well, maybe I could build it 9 feet by 4 feet this way and go that way. But I want to go bigger. So here's what I thought I would do. I would go 9 feet from side to side, maybe 8.5. We'll see what happens because I don't want to block the electrical plug. I still want to get behind there. And then I'll either go 3 or 4 feet tall. Then I want to bring it out 5 feet out this way. Let me show you what that would look like. Pro tip, if you ever plan on getting a new aquarium and you kind of want to know what it's going to look like, mark off the floor with some painter's tape. Goes on and off quite easily. Or build the tank out of cardboard and you can actually have a real representation of what it's really going to look like. Now obviously this isn't to exact measurements, but gives you a rough idea. So now as is, we've got it 5 feet front to back, 9 feet long. Not very big. However, when you can't build out, build up. So I'm thinking go 4 feet tall, or even, maybe 3 feet tall. How many gallons is that? Well, if we go the 4 feet height, we'll get about 1,350 gallons, I think. And then if we go the 3 feet, we get about 1,000 gallons of water. If you don't know how to calculate how many gallons of water is in an aquarium, multiply the length by width by height in no particular order and divide that by 231. Why? There's 231 cubic inches to a gallon. So if you multiply length by width by height divided by 231, you'll get the gallons. The main reason for this video though is because everybody's definition of a pond is dramatically different, and I learned that over the past week. There's so many assumptions of what I'm doing and so many guesses and so many suggestions that I realized I should probably explain what the design plans really are. Now this might sound silly, but what is the definition of a pond? Well, usually we find them outside. And of course, by true definition of a pond, I believe it's something like a still standing body of water formed naturally or by embanking or something like that. That's just off Google Dictionary. So we dig a hole in the ground, we fill it with water, it's now a pond. Or we build mounds up around it in a circle and fill that with water, it's a pond. Kind of like a crappy little swimming pool like that. But I'm in Canada, and I want to enjoy my pond all year round. Not just for a couple hours or a couple months out of the year, a few months out of the year. But on the topic of a swimming pool being a pond, isn't there many variations of what we define as being a pond? Interestingly enough, is how many gallons does it take to be qualified as a pond? By definition, shouldn't we be able to call a puddle a pond, even though they dry up? Some ponds dry up. Is a puddle a pond? These are the things that keep me up at night. Now, when I was building the 2,000-gallon aquarium, I seen a tremendous amount of comments saying, that's not an aquarium, that's just a pond. And I kind of figured, well, maybe because it's on the ground, people are calling it a pond, even though it has viewing panels. Is it an aquarium or is it a pond? And if it's a pond, can't I just take one of my 120-gallon tanks, put it on the floor, and now it becomes a pond? Or is it because it has 4 viewing panels, well, really only 3, is it an aquarium? and that one only has 2, so it's a pond. You see the things that racking my mind here? Pretty silly, but as an aquarium hobbyist, these are the things I think about. But on the topic of viewing panels, does that make all of the plywood aquariums that I built ponds as well? Because they only had 1 viewing panel. But those weren't on the ground, those were on a stand. So I'm confused. Is Frank in a pond? Frank, do you like your pond? You love your pond. Your ground pond. That room is gonna be awesome once we get finished it. If you're not following me on Instagram, by the way, I've been doing these 60-second vlogs where I basically tell you a bunch of things that I'm up to in the day, including like things that I'm working on that haven't even made it to YouTube yet, but I only have 60 seconds to explain it. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm going to be doing them daily. The more people that are watching, the more that will encourage me to keep doing it, but bear with me, I'm going to get more and more efficient with my 60 seconds in time. I guess the definition of a pond for me is any sort of structure that doesn't really have any viewing panels. In fact, no viewing panels at all. And that is why I'm calling this a pond. Even though it's not going to be what many of you guys are expecting it to be, a lot of the focus here is to create a large aquarium or pond, whatever we're gonna call it, make it so that anybody can build one of these, cost effective, of course. So here's my plans for my pond, or shall we call it a freestanding structure of still water. I want to know your definition of a pond in the description or in the comments below. Leave me some creative comments as well as some educational. The creative just kind of make me giggle throughout the day. This will be 9 feet long, 5 feet wide. I'm decided on that. If I go 3 feet tall, I'll leave it as is. I might even bring it out to 6 feet, adding a few hundred gallons to it. If I go 4 feet tall though, I'm going to build some steps up to it. Now the 2,000-gallon aquarium is 4 feet tall, but if you guys remember, I also built a little platform behind it, 3 steps that go up, and then I can monitor from above. It's really easy viewing. I really enjoyed that. Now if I go the 4 feet tall, that means we're out to 5 feet here. We come out 2 feet to have 3 feet of steps, which leaves us about 4 feet to the 2,000-gallon aquarium, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, leaves us 3 feet. But this is going to run the steps, not just one. It's going to run the entire length of the tank, which I think would look pretty cool and be something to sit on and enjoy, and multiple people can look at the fish in below, which we're going to cover in a minute what we're going to be stocking it with, or at least what I think I might stock. Now to build it, this is where it gets very easy. We're going to build a 2x4 framing system that will essentially almost look like an aquarium stand, sort of. And then we're going to wrap the inside and outside with particle board and plywood. Plywood on the outside because it's prettier, particle board on the inside because we don't need it to be pretty, we just need it to have a shape on the inside. I will be bracing it so that it'll be able to hold this water. Then I'm going to line it in styrofoam as an insulator, just like the 2000 has on the floor. And then of course, drop a pond liner into it and we're basically done. Of course, I'll need to address filtration, aeration, circulation, etc., but that's something we could do within that video. But there's a ton of concerns about humidity and whatnot. And now that you know the idea, or something that I kind of want to do, you'll realize that I can simply cover it like I do with the 2,000-gallon aquarium, which is just drop those greenhouse roofing panels over top of it to control humidity as well as evaporation, which do a great job, but it's still pretty humid in here. I know that a lot of people thought I was just gonna have this open water pond. That would be disastrous inside a building like this. If it was the only water structure in here, I could handle it, but we've got almost 5,000 gallons in here, or over 4,000 gallons in here, and regardless of how well these are covered, they're not sealed tight. So there's a tremendous amount of humidity that I have to deal with, plus I'm heating the room. I'm not heating the tanks, so by heating the room, it's hot and humid in here. I have an air exchanger, of course, and dehumidifiers running, etc. We've gone over this in the past. But if I run a open top pond inside of here, I'm gonna be dealing with mold issues, potentially black mold, and I could get really sick out here. So what I really wanted to do though is just build another really big aquarium that could potentially house some monsters, but those rays are gonna breed eventually as well. You give some stingrays what they need, a big aquarium, big filtration, lots of food and water changes, they're going to breed eventually, and there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I'm gonna need somewhere to grow the pups. And I'm running out of space and big tank, so I want to have a backup system. Although, of course, I'm probably going to put some fish in it. What I'm leaning towards is the True giant gourami. I'll add a couple of those, maybe 2 or 3 of them. We'll see how they go. I also might want to do a red-tailed catfish. I know a lot of people are saying you need to get catfish, a big catfish, and that's the #1 thing. And even this tank, I want to explain something. Even this tank, for those fish, isn't necessarily big enough. I could house the rays in there for life, but these other fish would potentially outgrow this in time. But the benefit to this is it's so cost effective and so cheap and pretty quick to build that I can expand it at any time that I want. All I really need to do is knock out one wall, buy a new liner, toss that in, and we're good to go. Build it out, maybe by another 4 feet, giving me 2 feet of length here. I know that this was gonna cut off from the viewing panel, sorta, etc. But ultimately, I like to make changes, and I like to continuously build and evolve and put the fish first. Of course, we still have a nice viewing panels in here and good viewing areas, but really I don't want anybody to think that you could just get a red-tailed catfish or giant gouramis or stingrays or arowana, even the silvers, and think that you're going to upgrade eventually. Most people don't. I've proven time and time again that I will build whatever it takes to house certain fish. So if you are interested in doing that, make sure you follow along, because this is going to be a cheap and effective way to house some monsters, or really whatever you want. Maybe you turn it into a grow out tank, or maybe you start, you put 2 little guppies in, and in 4 years you've got 5,000. I don't know what you want to do. There's tons of things. Bottom line is it's going to be a big volume of water. It will be closed. It's basically almost like an aquarium without viewing panels. I know a lot of people are going to say put viewing panels in it, etc. That puts costs up exponentially, going from maybe $500 to probably upwards of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So big differences. This is good enough for me to be able to place here and then upgrade it over time if I want to, in like 2 or 3 years, if I want to go bigger, or if I just want to get rid of it all completely. It's nothing to tear this apart, and it's not like I invested a tremendous amount of money. So it's just something I want to do, and it's not something I've done before, and I got to get it checked off the list. Anyways, guys, that's today's video. Hope you enjoyed getting an idea of what the plans are. Clearly, I've got a lot to do. I have to start building, and more so, the longest thing that's going to take is collecting all of the materials that I need and getting it all right the first time, so we're not wasting any money. However, if you can't wait till the next video on YouTube, like the full feature, full-length video, follow me on Instagram, where I'm doing those 60-second vlogs, and you get to see all of this behind the scenes before it actually kind of happens on YouTube. You don't have to have Instagram to watch. You can just open it in your desktop and watch for free, etc., etc. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are, so you don't miss any of these videos. Again, I got a lot to do, but I hope you guys are enjoying the ride, and I'm loving taking you guys along for it.